being the boss of money. What that means when I say being the boss of money. So I'm going to keep it real simple. It's a three-part framework I developed called the SSI Method. It's a three-part wealth building framework. Because the issue for many of us is not that we don't have enough money or income or anything like that. It's that we have the wrong mindset when it comes to money, and we don't have a system. We don't have a system. There's no structure. And so the SSI method, it provides structure. Think of it as three different buckets, right? Three different buckets: a spending bucket, a savings bucket, and an investing bucket. And think of it as, in terms of you being the boss, you dictating, not money, but you dictating how your money is allocated. You plan in advance. That's the key thing, right? So you don't wait till you get the money and then say, okay, what do I do with it, right? By then it's too late, right? Because your impulse, your emotions have already taken root. The whole point of having a system is that you take the emotions out of it and you provide structure. And when it comes to money, money needs movement and structure, right? It needs two things, right? Movement and structure. So we're going to focus on the structure part. And that structure is the SSI method framework, right? It's really that simple. Think of it as three buckets. For every, let's say, $1, $100, whatever the case might be, let's use $100 just as an example, how this plays out in real life, right? Everyday life. So it depends on your age, how much you're going to allocate to each bucket. But let's say you're a 20-year-old. I'll give two examples. Let's say you're a 20-year-old just starting college, and you're using the SSI method, or you want to use the SSI method. About 70% of your money is probably going to go to expenses, right? And whether that be rent, tuition, textbooks, partying, or whatever the case might be, everyday life, right? I would say about 70%. You can spend less than that, right? And we're talking about on wants and needs. That leaves you with 30%. What do you do with the 30%? How do you allocate it, right? We don't want to spend all of our money. That defeats the purpose of having a system, right? So 70% goes to spending, let's say. Then, give me 1 second here. Little screen came up. 70% goes to spending. Now that leaves you with 30%, right? Of each paycheck, of each amount of money you get, amount of money you get or whatever, right? So everybody's different, but you want to have some money go towards savings, right? An emergency fund, a vacation fund, freedom fund, whatever you want to call it, right? You want to have some money automatically go towards savings, right? And then you want to invest. Yes, you want to invest. Don't wait till you get older until you start investing. In fact, the sooner you start, the more your future self will thank you, right? Because due to compound interest, your money will be earning on top of itself, right? Accumulating on top of itself. The longer runway you have, so to speak, right? It's different than, if you're 20 years old rather than if you're 50 or 60. Your runway is shorter when you're older, right? And I'm just using that metaphor because as a kid I wanted to be a pilot, right? And I fly a lot. But my main point is that when you have a long runway, you have more time for your money to compound. And that's why you want to get started as soon as possible. So again, SSI method, a spending plan, and an investing plan. When it comes to money, it is about discipline, it is about structure, right? If you lack either of them, then you're going to, like a lot of people, you're going to be mostly a spender, right? And you're just going to blow money and always have to work for money. We want to change the paradigm, the mental paradigm, right? From just spending, maybe saving a little bit here and there, and not investing at all, or investing when you're in your 50s and 60s or whatever the case might be. Or even if you start when you're young, keeping the amount that you invest very low instead of investing larger amounts, especially as you get you make more income. The more income you make, the more you should save, right? Not the more you should spend, the more you should save. So that's the key thing, right? Is to have a system. And the system I propose is the one I created about 4 years ago, the SSI Method, right? So 3-part or 3-pillar wealth building platform. I'm going to use another metaphor, right? I mentioned a runway. Let's use a house, right? Since we're all familiar with a house is a home, or whatever the case might be. The SSI method is analogous to a house in that the spending is the foundation. In order for you to build out the rest of the house, you have to get your foundation in order, and that foundation is your spending, right? Look at your retail, what they talk about, retail therapy, right? How you go shopping to feel good. Right? We need to examine that. Um, Look at your other emotional spending based on trauma. Look at your spending based on trying to fit in, keep up with the Joneses or Kardashians these days, right? Especially with social media. Social media will have you feeling inadequate, like you need to get more to be accepted, to be somebody. And that's another topic for another day. But my main point is, when it comes to spending being foundational, you want to really take a hard look at why you spend, on what you spend, when you spend it, and so forth, right? Because our spending is a reflection of our values. And a lot of times there's a disconnect between what we say we value and how we spend our money. How we spend our money is going to actually show what we value. So keep that in mind. And again, we'll dive deeper into these things. I just want to touch on it a little bit here. So again, it's your boy Joe, the Wealth Architect. I've been teaching personal finance and entrepreneurship since 1995, something I'm very passionate about. I teach classes. I'm an author of 4 books, including Think Outside the Cell, an Entrepreneur's Guide for the Incarcerated and Formerly Incarcerated, which I self-published with my wife 19 years ago, right? 2007. So next year will be 20 years that I have written that while I was in prison, right? It sold thousands and thousands of copies all across the country, and is an inspiration and a guide for a lot of people, right? You can find all of my books, including the second book is the new SSI method, based on what I'm talking about now, spending plan, savings plan, investing plan. The third book is now I'm forgetting, because the third book is Above the Clouds, right? And that's about a GDP framework that I created maybe 15 years ago, something like that. And that is based on practicing gratitude, detachment, and perspective, right? So it's a book really about resilience, not about money, but about bouncing back from life's ups and downs. So that's book number 3. And then my most recent one is Where Will You Plant Your Seeds? It's a small book, a parable. Even a kid, 8, 10 years old, can read the book, right? If they can read, then they will be able to follow the book and get the basic principles of the SSI method, right? And how they work and how they can show up in your life, right? So those are my 4 books. Again, you can find them on Amazon. Go straight to Amazon. You can find any of your books, and you can also check out the books, chapters of some of the books for free, and other resources on my website, right? On thinkoutsidethecell.com. That's thinkoutsidethecell.com. One word, right? Check out the website. Hope you like it, and also share it with others, right? And because we're here for you. We really are here for you. I've been doing this 30 years because I love it. I love to get people develop different relationships with money so that they can have the lives that they want and deserve. So that's what I do. So let's get back to the whole point of the metaphor, right? So spending is your foundation. Spending is your foundation, right? You got to have a firm foundation or everything else falls flat. If you don't get your spending under control, then you're not likely to get your savings or investing under control, or to even start either of them if you are just mostly a spender, right? So we want to get that foundational stuff, right? And in the chat, type in anything that you struggle with when it comes to spending. What is it about spending that is a challenge for you? I'd like to know. What is it about spending that is a challenge for you? For different people, it's different things, right? So I'd like to know. Put that in the comments, right? The second tier, right? You have the foundation of your house. Now we need to build a house, right? That is the savings. The savings give you protection. The savings give you protection, just like a house, physical house gives you protection, right? We're not talking money now, but the physical house actually gives you protection from the elements, for example, right? So savings is very similar in that it gives you some degree of protection from emergencies, from if you need just like quick cash, things like that. That's what a savings plan is for, right? That's what savings is for. And you want to automate that as well. You want to automate your savings so that every time you get paid a certain amount of money, it could be $25, $50, $100, whatever you want to start with. I was going to say afford, but that's relative. But whatever you feel comfortable with, right? You want to get started and have your bank automatically, or your employer, or wherever you get your money from, automatically have money go to a separate bank account. Not your regular debit card where you purchase or your day-to-day items, but a separate bank account with a specific purpose, a specific name, right? You can have more than one bank account, one for emergency fund, one for, like I said, travel, or whatever the case might be. So you can give them different names. They have a different purpose. You want to make them aspirational, and you want to automate them. Give them a name, put money in, set it up and make it and automate it, right? That's the key things, right? We'll get into more details another time. So that's your foundation and your house. So now you say, well, where does investing come in? For me, the investing is the best part. It's the fun part, right? That's where your money is working for you, and that is the rooftop, right? So we got the foundation, we got a nicely built house, and now we have a rooftop where we get to party because our money is working for us. So we get to celebrate now. That doesn't mean spend all your money, because again, we are being disciplined with our spending, with our savings, and also our investing. But investing, right, if done correctly and being done like automatically, then there's the potential. I'm not making promises, but I'm saying it's worked for me and millions of other people all across the country. When you automate it and you regularly invest, then you can live off the money that your money makes. That's freedom. That's part of freedom, right? When your money makes money, and that money pays for all your expenses, and you have money left, you are free. It's not a dollar amount. You are financially free, right? You're not free when you have a whole bunch of debt or liabilities and you don't have the money to cover it, right? So it's not about how much money comes in, it's how much money you have at the end of the day, and to make sure that all of your debts and liabilities are paid for, right? Through investing, your money can pay for your lifestyle. That's what the wealthy do. And as I say in a lot of my sessions, you don't have to be wealthy to think wealthy, right? That's critical. You don't have to be wealthy to think wealthy. Most people were not born wealthy, right? Most people were not born wealthy, but they had to they eventually develop a wealth mindset, which got them there, right? And you can have the same thing. They're no better than you. They're no better than me, right? So that's the key thing that I really wanted to point out. And so that is your three-part framework, the SSI method, right? A spending plan, savings plan, investing. Foundation, house, and the rooftop, where we get to party, we get to celebrate, right? So with that said, this is your boy Joe, the Wealth Architect. Again, let me know in the comments what part resonated with you about any of it. And as I said earlier, when it comes to spending, because usually it's emotions. So what emotion or what trigger, what is it that really gets you every time when it comes to spending? And then you eventually say, man, I knew I shouldn't have did that. I know I need to save. I know I need to invest, right? So what's that one thing? With that, let me know in the comments, and I look forward to talking to y'all a lot more.